It's Canadian Prepper here. Just wanted to talk a bit today about propaganda and prepping. And the point of this video is not to persuade you to take on my opinion, but just to persuade you to think more deeply about issues. Now, I'm just going to cut to the chase. The reason why it's important that people understand propaganda, modern propaganda, and preparedness is because if the shit were to hit the fan, you need to be able to understand that the people in charge are all about crowd control. Okay? The last thing they want to do is whip people into a chaotic, uncontrollable frenzy. Typically what they want to do is put people in some sort of controlled frenzy, controlled fear. Everything's sold by fear, whether it's keeping up with the Joneses or vaccines, Tamiflu, shit like that, war, all sold by fear. And I'm not trying to convince you, like I said, to take on any opinion of mine. I'm just trying to get you to think about this, because it's important to understand that the powers that be do not have any interest whatsoever in telling you if shit were to hit the fan. For instance, if there was a comet that was approaching Earth, and it's very difficult to see these things, or a meteorite or something like that. Usually, depending on its position in space, they won't see it until, how do we know, right? I mean, all I know is what NASA tells me, and they're the only ones with, governments are the only ones who have telescopes up there to be able to see what's coming at us. And of course, it's in none of their interest to tell you when shit is going to hit the fan, because they realize that it's going to make it much harder for them to control the situation. If everybody's running around in a panic, looting stores, they're just going to get in the way of the whole continuity of government, as it's called. Really, it's just the continuity of the oligarchy. That's my opinion on that. Continuity of the people who, the elites, essentially. So, you need to understand that a lot of this stuff you hear about mainstream media, when they say shit is hitting the fan, honestly, in my personal opinion, it probably really isn't. It's probably some controlled chaos that they're trying to whip up in order to legitimate the passing through of some kind of agenda of sorts. Just like I've come to discover the Ebola thing. I already offered you my opinion on that. You can view my video called Ebola, the Real Agenda. And of course, that's my opinion. I cannot speak absolutely about it, but I kind of put out that title to hopefully attract a bit more attention to the video. But a lot of this stuff right now, you need to realize that the mainstream media, for one, is not legally obligated to tell you the truth. That's number one. There have been several court cases where people have taken these networks to court because they were clearly misinforming those people. And the judges would throw it out, insisting that, there is no onus that somebody who comes on TV has to tell you the truth. The only reason why they tell you the truth is they realize that if they don't, eventually the ratings are going to suffer. If they don't at least sugarcoat it and, tell you a bit of the truth. But when you have essentially the entire planet's news, the Western world anyways, controlled by a couple major mainstream media sources, which is the Associated Press and Reuters, and everything sort of trickles down from there into all the American networks and the BBC and the Canadian CBC and all that stuff. You have to recognize that what you are being told is put there for, I'm not saying it's all not true. I'm not getting into this no-planer, red herring type stuff that, there was no planes on 9/11 and, Ebola doesn't exist and stuff like that. You never go that far with things, and because personally, in my personal opinion, a lot of that stuff is there to sort of make anybody who questions the official narratives on anything look crazy, you know. But anyways, so you need to understand that if the shit's going to go down, they're not going to tell you. And you're always going to be, unless you're privy to some intel, you know, unless you're in the military, or even then, I mean, you better keep it to yourself, because, you know, if you don't, chances are you're going to be killed, you know, or they will probably kill you. If it means, you know, that everybody's screwed anyways, and you're going around telling people about this, they're either going to hope that you're written off as a nut, or they're going to kill you. There's a myriad of ways that they can do that. We're talking about the military-industrial complex here. Not only that, the media. Now you have to look at things critically. Whatever happened to Al-Qaeda? I know some people are going to come on here and parrot their views that they've been, you know, given by the mainstream media, and some people will parrot what they've been given by what they view as the alternative media, which is, in my opinion, largely controlled now too. It's called controlled dissent. Manufacturing consent through controlled dissent. That's another topic for another day. But whether it's InfoWars or, you know, whatever the like is, what's that called? Alternet. That's the left-wing one. No matter what it is, you need to really scrutinize that very critically, because look how fast the trends change in the news. All of a sudden, almost like overnight, everybody was talking about ISIS. Just out of nowhere. All of a sudden, this, you know, forget everything that happened leading up to that. Now, of course, ISIS is being associated with Assad and all this bullshit, and you forgot about Libya, you forgot about Al-Qaeda, you know, you forgot about everything else, and now all of a sudden, everything's ISIS. Overnight. And everybody comes on and either has an opinion that, okay, ISIS is a fabrication, or ISIS is, you know, a real threat, and they put out all this stuff about how evil ISIS is, and I'm not saying they're not. Whoever, you know, I don't even know if that's the name that they go by, or if that's just the name the media gives them. I'm sure somebody's going to come on here and parrot what they've heard from the various media sources that they've been, you know, permitted to access, and say, oh, it was made up by this and that and this, that, whatever. You know, if you want to believe things that the media is telling you, and still think that they're actually going to tell you if shit was hitting the fan, give me one good reason why they would tell the masses if shit was hitting the fan. If there was a unstoppable pandemic, why would they ever upplay that? You know, they would downplay it if it was something that was beyond their control. Now, do things happen that are beyond their control? Yes. But the system is so intricate and detailed and really full spectrum that for something to slip through the cracks is very, very rare in this day and age, for something to be outside of the control, or, you know, unable for them to control. And when I mean them, I mean the powers that be. I mean the elites, the rich, the wealthy, the super wealthy. I'm not talking about even millionaires now. There's something like 15 million millionaires. Millionaire doesn't really mean much anymore, you know, because of inflation and all that. I'm talking about the wealthy people who have enough to purchase capital, you know. Those are the people who really run the world. And they have all these different commissions and committees and councils and stuff like that, where they every day decide how they're going to, structure the future. I'm getting a little off topic, but I'm trying to make you understand that the media has no obligation to tell you the truth about what is going to happen, about what's coming down the pipe. They have no legal obligation whatsoever, and to be honest, no monetary interest in doing that. There's no interest in telling people if the actual pestilence were coming down on us, there'd be no reason to whip everybody into a frenzy. That would just make the situation far more unmanageable. So you need to understand that you don't need to do anything. I shouldn't say you need to do it. You can do whatever the fuck you want, to be honest. But I'm trying to be sincere with you when I say that you really need to evaluate the global affairs very, very critically, because what you are told is what essentially they want you to hear. And chances are, if they're telling you to look one way, there's something else going on behind the scenes. So for me, as much as I do perceive the pandemic threat to be a legitimate threat, and in my books, it's probably the most probable. I don't know if it's going to be bird flu or Ebola or some resurgence of some other thing, that some other novel virus that they've never heard of, or who knows, God knows what. Maybe it'll be something like revolution, where it's not even biological, it's technological, it's nanotech or something like that. Who knows? Some nanotech pathogen recreates itself. But you need to think critically about these things, because you need to ask yourself, why on earth, if this stuff they say is real, like this Ebola, why the hell would they keep the borders, flights coming in from those countries? It's such a farce. I think Ebola is real. Don't get me wrong. It's a real disorder. There's been a lot of videos that have been showing, what people are saying are actors pretending to be sick. Now, the way I explain that is that there's a lot of these reporters in these countries, if they're even in these countries, that they want to get footage, okay? They want to get footage for the networks, obviously. And it doesn't necessarily mean that Ebola is not real. It just means that they paid a couple guys to lay around. They paid them $10 or whatever to look sick in front of a camera, so they could show that to the American people and say, look, this is what's happening. CNN has done that a lot. They're notorious for making up stuff, even though it doesn't necessarily negate what's happening. It just means that they were too lazy to go in, or scared to actually get the disease, so they just paid some people to act like they had the disease. I don't know what else to say about this, but there's so many angles you can approach it from. And I usually say, if you think you got it figured out, you just stop thinking. They want us to get mad and conflate ISIS with Al-Qaeda and Syria and even Ebola, And sure enough, you can bet that in 2 months, in 2 months, it's going to be a totally different story. But what about MERS? You remember MERS? Everybody was talking about MERS, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. Everybody, all the preppers were making videos about MERS and all that stuff, and then prior to that it was H5N1. Whatever happened with MERS? The media just stopped talking about it, so everybody stopped talking about it must not be an issue anymore. Well, of course it's still an issue. It's just as much of an issue now as it was then, only they know, the people who control the mainstream media realize that we can only focus on one or two crises at a time. And we have such a short attention span and a short-term memory because we're inundated with media, be it social media or otherwise, that they realize that, one day they can be talking about something and it's the most important thing, it's the hot topic of the day, and within 2 days they can talk about something entirely different and nobody will even take any issue with it whatsoever. It just goes down the rabbit hole. And even on YouTube, you have this endless feed of information that's being coming out. And, I made videos 5-6 months ago that don't even get any views anymore. I don't know where they're going. I guess they're still there. But, if you don't constantly keep, publishing, and I'm getting a little off topic with that, but what I'm trying to convey, the point I'm trying to convey is that we are being inundated with so much media on a non-stop basis that it's hard for us to really pay attention to any of it and run with it. So you need to understand that the powers that be have no vested interest in telling you the truth, the actual truth. They tell you snippets of the truth, because of course there's things that, that can't be covered up entirely. And they give you opposing viewpoints for you to argue about. Talk radio comes on, and your local talk radio will come on, and everybody will give their insight on. And of course, it doesn't matter what you think or say; it has absolutely no impact on the outcome. And this is all my opinions. So let me know what you think about this. I'm going to stop because I could go on about this kind of stuff for hours. And maybe I will. Maybe I'll make a more, opinionated channel. But I want to keep this channel towards the end of preparedness. And that's the point I'm trying to convey, is that you're on your own when it comes to determining when the shit's going to hit. Nobody's going to tell you, when it's going to hit. It's just going to happen. Chances are. There's some scenarios where things could progress. There's that quote on 28 Days Later. First it was you seen it on the news, and then it wasn't on the news anymore. Oh no, I totally blew that quote. I totally blew it. Anyways, I'm gonna write the quote at the end here. I feel kind of stupid about ending a video like that on a total brain fart, but anyways, I'm gonna write the quote down here. I'm gonna remember when I get home, and I'll write it down. But you guys let me know what you think about all this stuff. I think it's important, and I'm not telling you how to think. I'm just saying, think a bit further. Think outside your worldview, your frame of reference for a second, and try to broaden your horizons. This notion that you're somehow privy to intel, which is of global importance, is kind of foolish. Anyways, Canadian Prepper out.